เมื่อได้รับมอบหมายให้ทำภารกิจอันสูงส่งนำพระสัทธรรมคำสอนให้เผยแผ่อย่างมีคุณค่าทั้งภายในและ
เกี่ยวกับเรื่องหลวงพ่อเขาพูดถึงเรื่องหลวงพ่อเขาพูดถึงเรื่องหลวงพ่อ
ก็มีหัวใจเด็ดเดี่ยวดังเพชรน้องข้าภารกิจนั้นด้วยใจมุ่งมั่นแต่ต้องพบกับอุปสรรคนานาประการ
นี่เขาพูดถึงเรื่องหลวงพ่อไม่ใช่เหรอเขาพูดถึงเรื่องหลวงพ่อไม่ใช่เหรอทำไมพี่
ไม่เชิญค่ะ
พี่ทำไม
อย่าให้ยุ่งค่ะ
ทำไมพี่มีแต่คนผู้อยากรู้เรื่องหลวงพ่อกันทั้งนั้นเลยนะคะ
ป้าเชิญค่ะ
ไม่ได้ค่ะไม่ได้นะคะอาจสิคะแล้วก็พูดครั้งที่แล้วตั้งแต่ครั้งที่แล้วป้าก็ได้ข่าวว่าเขาจะถามเรื่องหลวงพ่อกันไม่รู้แต่ป้ารู้ได้ข่าวว่าเป็นการถามเพราะว่าเขาถามกันแบบอย่างนี้นะคะทั่วโลกป้านี่รู้เพราะว่ามีคนถามป้าหลวงพ่อตอบไม่ถูกโอ้ยเรื่องคนที่นี่นะคะ
เชื้อชาติยังเอาชีวิตเดินผ่านเสมอมา
เขาไม่เข้าวัดแล้วเขาก็บอกว่าทางวัดเนี่ยไม่เคยให้คำตอบ
ให้คือส่วนโลกของเราได้เร็ววัน
มีแต่บอกบุญแต่ไม่ให้คำตอบอะไรเลย
เขาถามประมาณว่าหลวงพ่อไม่อยู่หรือยัง
เขาถามว่าหลวงพ่อเนี่ยอยู่หรือไม่อยู่แล้วทำไมมันไม่ถึงปีแล้วทำไมหลวงพ่อถึงไม่ปรากฏตัวถ้าอยู่ว่าเขาปรากฏตัวที่หนูป้าเข้าวัดมา30 ปีป้าจะนอนนะก็อยากรู้ว่ามันเกิดเหตุการณ์อะไรที่ทำโอ้โหหนูงั้นมันคือไม่เอาไม่คุยไม่ทักดีมากรู้หน้าป้าจะคุยกับหลวงพ่อเพราะป้าก็อยากจะคุยกับหลวงพ่อแต่ป้าเข้าไม่ถึง
คืออย่างนี้ค่ะถ้าคุณป้าคุณเอาอย่างนี้แล้วค่ะ
ไม่คุยกับใครทั้งนั้นไม่เพราะป้าเลยไม่มาคุยกับหนูแต่ว่า
จะมีที่เราไปพบหลวงพ่อ
ไม่เอาเพราะว่ามีคนไปพบมาแล้วเขาได้คำตอบที่ต้องงงหลวงพ่อพูดว่าหลวงพ่อทำว่าอยากให้ไปบอกเพราะถ้าออกมาอยากให้ท่านอยู่วัดไม่ต้องอยู่ที่อื่นแล้วก็ต้องมาเล่าให้เจ้าข้าฟังเจ้าข้าก็งงหลวงพ่อเจ้าข้าก็งงว่าหลวงพ่อเป็นแบบนี้หรอใช่ก็นี่ผมอยากจะรู้จากปากท่านมีแล้วเองนี้
ก็เดี๋ยวจะพาไปกุฏิท่านอยู่ตรงนี้
ไม่เจ้าแล้วคือเขาก็จะได้คำตอบแบบนี้ก็กลัวจะต้องแหก
ก็นี่แหละค่ะถึงจะพาไปกุฏิท่านเลยว่า
เขาเห็นป้าเป็นตาแล้วเนี่ยป้าเป็นตาป้าแล้วเนี่ยไม่ป้ามีแต่คนเล่าให้ป้าวันไหนครั้งนี้ป้าเป็นตาแล้วว่าตั้งแต่หลวงพ่อไม่อยู่สภาพบรรยากาศวัดกับสาธุชนเนี่ยทำกับสาธุชนเป็นแบบตะกี้มาชี้หน้าป้าถ่ายวิดีโอแล้วทำไมพระพุทธเจ้าวัดที่เป็นวัดป้าพวกหนูเป็นแค่อาสาสมัคร
ความหมายคือว่าตอนนี้ค่ะ
ในสภาออกมากันเต็มเลยใช่ไม่รู้อยู่ไปติ๊กฮะอยู่ไปติ๊กฮะอยู่ไปติ๊กในสภาเดี๋ยวไปเรียกติ๊กมาให้ออกมาดูโดนออกมาดูโดนไล่เลยฮะออกมาดูโดนไล่เลยใช่
The temple has apprehended someone. They seem to be involving in wrongdoing. Perhaps a terrorist or harboring ill will toward the temple. This person appeared in the magical crystal room 1. It's unclear whether the perpetrators were alone or in a group. After they were apprehended, no one knows what happened to them. But then, by chance, information was obtained from those who were present at the scene. Let's hear their voices.
It started when I entered the glass room. I sat in the second row, on the right, facing Luangpur Tata, voice 01, who was leading the meditation. After that, the monks who were going to receive the initial donation lined up in a row, all the way to the last row. Rotherham got up to grab the microphone, but I saw that it wasn't easy because it was securely attached to the stand. So I got up first and turned back to look, but it was too late, too long had passed. Someone grabbed my arm and tried to pull me out of the room. I resisted, but several people tried to pull me out. So I shouted two questions to Luangpur Tata. Is Luangpur Dhamma still at the temple these days? I heard he hasn't been at the temple since 2019. Then I continued with, the prosecutor ordered no indictment against Luangpur Dhamma. So why didn't Luangpur Tata close the case for him? I repeated this question twice. Then they quickly pulled me out of the glass room, afraid I would ask more questions. In that room, Ms. Pannon was trying her best to pull me away, along with a male staff member and 2 or 3 other people who were also trying to restrain me. After walking out, I sat by a pillar next to the glass room near gate 8. A male officer held my arm tightly, afraid I would go back inside. Later, several people, including both police and plainclothes officers with their faces covered, came and took pictures of me. They tried to get me to go outside the temple to talk. But a security guard grabbed me and pulled me away. Someone whispered in my ear, "Why are you asking questions you shouldn't be asking? Don't you want to die a good death?" That's roughly what they said. I then started acting dramatically, saying I missed the abbot and hadn't seen him for 8 years. They asked what my purpose was. I replied that I wanted to ask if the abbot was still at the temple. I heard he hadn't been there since 2019, and that the prosecutor had ordered the indictment of Fra Dhamma to be closed between October and April 2024, but Fra Tatachivo hadn't closed the case for him. I just wanted to ask that. Then, both monks and laypeople came and asked me the same questions, which I repeated. There was also a woman I'd never seen before, but who seemed to be in charge of the arrangements. I walked out and they asked, "Do you really love the abbot? Why would you disrupt the ceremony like this?" I replied, "If your real father disappeared for 8 years, would you look for him and see how he was doing?" They went silent. They kept asking questions, probably realizing he wasn't crazy and that he was speaking reasonably. They stopped asking. Then, a police officer, a lieutenant almost 60 years old, tried to get me outside the temple for questioning, but the security guard pulled me downstairs. They then took me on a motorcycle to the lower level where 2 police officers, a colonel, were interrogating me. They pressured and threatened me until I had to show them my phone and all the documents I had. A temple official was with me, and a man with his face covered followed, taking more pictures. The police interrogated me for a long time, forcing me to hand over my phone and showing them all the information. They saw I was alone and thought they could intimidate me. I probably looked pitiful, but one of the police officers gave me water to drink. I saw the bottle was unopened, and I was very thirsty, so I took 2 sips, about half a capful of M150. Later, I noticed the same police officer getting water for himself from a different container, not the same one he gave me. So I stopped drinking. He then took the script I had written, points 1 and 2, and refused to return it. He forced me to sign a consent form allowing him to search my phone. Then, another police officer, not the one who gave me the water, told me I could leave. This officer seemed to be helping me because the person who gave me the water left. The other officer said I could go, but then Pam arrived. So I was allowed to stay. The police questioned Pam, and after a while, Pam asked, "Did he break the law?" The officer replied that he hadn't, just been disruptive. I felt a little relieved. They also took my ID card as evidence and photographed me. After that, the same officer who told me I could leave, the second time, seemed to tell me to go. While I was waiting for the other officer who gave me the water, I left. I walked out to wait in front of the temple. Explanation from the group photo. The male officer in the blue vest, standing to the right of Tun, grabbed my arm as tightly as he could, afraid I would slip away again after he pulled me out of the glass room. The officer in the vest standing to my left was the one who brought me water. The officer on the right in the picture was the one who told me I could leave. Everything was ready. He told me to leave twice. After taking 2 sips of water, I felt a slight numbness in my tongue. There were 2 police officers in vests. The one who gave me water was the one standing to my left. Right next to me, the officer on the right in the picture, who was looking, told me to leave twice. The security guard who brought me down is on the far right in this picture. When the officer who gave Tun the water went outside to talk on the phone and came back, he looked confused about how he let me go. Tun knew because when he walked out, not far away, he looked for him, and Tun turned around at the same time. He heard him ask how I could leave, so I replied that the other officer said I could. Then he went quiet. The police officer who gave Ton the water was the one who got the water himself from a separate container. It was the person standing next to me on the left. He drank water as if to reassure me that it was safe to drink because he also drank from a different bucket. I didn't take my eyes off him when he went to get the water. When I walked out to the front of the temple, I tried to induce vomiting. It was light green phlegm, and the police officer in the other picture, the one standing in front of me taking photos. This is the officer who threatened me, saying, "Did you see how Teacher Jude died?" This shows that he also knew that Teacher Jude's death was not normal. I don't know what pictures the police officers took from my phone, because I have to admit they were interrogating me intensely. Both officers took turns taking pictures. He found this, the conversation image, and said, "See? He's playing the role of not knowing you." Then he scrolled and found the money transfer slip with the doctor's name on it and asked, "Is this Dr. Keon Tawan's boyfriend?" I answered without lying because he threatened that if I lied, there would be trouble. He was the only one threatening me. But I want to reaffirm, with a calm heart, that I want to share this experience. Have faith in your teachers. Looking back to when I was sitting in the glass room, I was excited, trembling, nervous, and uncertain. But when it was time to go out, it was as if something possessed me, making me calm, composed, and fearless. Even now, I'm not afraid at all. Only I truly understand that feeling. But I can't quite put it into words.
Yathida added that when she went to get the microphone, her younger brother, Tun, went to the front to speak. They then escorted Tun out of the glass room. Yathida refused to leave and remained seated, with them sitting close to her. After a while, they sent officers to escort her out repeatedly. They told Yathida that the abbot in charge of managing the event in the glass room, named Fra Chayan, wanted to speak with her. They took her bag to force her to leave, but she refused and let the monk wait while they explained their reasons. While she was in the glass room, some of their people asked her to leave again. After listening to Luangpur Tat's explanation, she agreed to go out and meet the monks at gate 8. There were many people from their side, perhaps more than 10, waiting to hear from her. Photographers were taking pictures. Yathida bowed to the abbot and asked them why they were taking so many pictures of her. Does the monk see the donors as criminals, that he's acting like this? He's questioning them as if the donors who came to make merit at the temple are criminals. A layperson asked for the microphone, saying they only had 3 questions. 1. What's the status of the Luangpur 01 case? 2. Where is Luangpur 01 and how is he? The monk replied that all the people standing around Ms. M said they didn't know where Luangpur 01 was. They then said, "Ms. M, why don't you ask Luangpur Tata?" Ms. M said that several groups who came to make merit at the temple had already asked him personally. Every group that asked, the answer was, Luangpur 01 is in the temple. This was the answer from Luangpur 02 himself. At that point, the monk said, "Do you know that what you're doing is dangerous?" Ms. M asked the monk, "What kind of danger are you talking about? Tell me." Ms. M then asked the monk, "Are you talking about dying like Teacher Jude?" The conversation then turned to the death of Teacher Jude. Ms. M responded, "Don't forget that news is everywhere these days. People die. Teacher Jude also did many good deeds. But at the temple, they kept it a secret, not letting anyone see the body. Teacher Jude died a tragic death, cremated without a trace. Is this what you mean?" Those listening to Palm's questions asked. Or did everyone at the temple see Teacher Jude's death and that was the end of it? Pam continued, "Do you think people are stupid?" During that time, all the news groups were following what Teacher Jude said about Luangpur 02 and 06. And Teacher Jude was good at translating. She even translated French. Or do you think everyone wasn't following the news? We were following Teacher Jude's news in French about 06 and 02. Everyone looked at Pam. "Don't try to intimidate me anymore. I'm here in peace." Then the monk replied, "Teacher Jude died of a heart attack." Pam continued, "Remember this. During the time Teacher Jude posted on Facebook, many people were following it. One of them was this layperson. They were following it because Teacher Jude posted a lot about the bad things 06 and 02 did. That's what I wanted to ask about with the microphone." And the monk replied, "You're scaring the temple. The monks are responsible for maintaining peace and order. And we are the owners of the temple." This was Piathida's turn to respond. You, the monks and the lay devotees in the temple are not the owners of the temple. The temple belongs to the lay people. Everyone in the temple uses the money donated by the lay people for merit making. Please understand this role. Everyone surrounding me was silent. The monks were also silent. And those two women asked if I was a lawyer. I answered no. They asked again if I was a professor. They talked for a long time until I summarized the situation myself because they had been standing there for so long, and the monks understood that I came with good intentions. That's roughly the story. Now, I went down to see Tun. He said he needed to invite me to see the head of security downstairs. Tun said he came by car with Yathida, and Tun had the equipment. This role allowed Yathida to summarize the situation again. I think they were being difficult, but I spoke calmly and summarized it. They asked to see my ID card. So I said I wouldn't agree because we don't trust the law. These days the law has no standards and the police organization is not standardized. Therefore, I did not consent to showing my ID card. This was when I was downstairs. When they asked to take pictures, I told them that we had to take pictures together with the officials, not just us. I talked a lot in the room downstairs. But at gate 8, when I was surrounded, there wasn't a single one of our people there. Only me, Yathida, alone. I used my wit and focused on Luang Poro 1 the whole time to try and talk to the monk and the officials. I also used legal means. If the organization within the temple isn't peaceful, where is the standard of law? Just the law being used against Luang Poro 1 is already a lot. That's what I said. This is the monk, Fra Chayan, who inquired with me and said that Kru Jude fainted and died. Furthermore, Fra Chayan oversaw the ceremony, and the female lay follower was his assistant. This part is what Pete and Tick recounted. Before the investigation ended, a woman came and sat down to listen. She was from the Klong Sam Subdistrict Administrative Organization and started complaining that we were causing a disturbance and a nuisance to those attending the ceremony. The police said, "See? They're accusing you." Pete said, "I know this person. She used to be a leader in religious ceremonies." Later, she worked at the Subdistrict Administrative Organization. It seemed like she was trying to get close to Pete, creating a situation of displeasure. A small female security guard came to separate them and told Pete, "You'll get another charge of fighting, auntie." It's all them. There's a video clip taken at the beginning when we were being summoned and people were shouting questions about the case not being closed. Pete got up from her chair and said, "See? They're asking about Luang Poro 1. A community health volunteer sitting behind her said, "Don't pay attention to them." Then she said, "Look at the people attending the ceremony. They're sitting quietly and not paying attention, as if they've been instructed to do so." Most of them are devotees who came in the temple's van. The community health volunteer came over to Pete and said, "It's too late, they've already filmed it." When Pete walked out through gate 10, she went back to where they were and said, "They're treating people who come to the temple like criminals, and they're trying to film us." The security guard tried to take Pete's bag. I quickly slipped away and went into the glass room, sitting alone at the back. There were temple volunteers and community health volunteers sitting a distance away, both on the sides and behind me. During that time, I quickly sent the message and immediately deleted it. I've had first-hand experience with this kind of thing, with the temple's temple volunteers recording everything. But they always have a way to escape, to have the clip to prove the truth of what happened to me, even if I did anything wrong in the temple or if temple people did anything to me. I also knew that if I tried to use the services of mobile phone shops near the temple, like the Klong Luang market, it wouldn't work because the police probably had already told the shops to stop. This is unbelievable information, but it's true because it happened to me before. Pete said, at that time, Tick came and sat with me. After a while, a female layperson, the head of the ritual department, came in to invite us to see the abbot, but we didn't go out. We were invited again when we got up to go to the restroom with Tick. The police told us to hurry down and didn't let us go to the restroom with them. The police or security guard told us to show our ID cards. If there was nothing to hide, if we were innocent. Pete and Tick negotiated that we would not agree to have our ID cards photographed, but to show our innocence, we did. I agreed to fill out the police report form. I forgot to mention that the officer named Tudtu is probably from the assault unit, because he told me that if I were a man, he would have beaten me up a long time ago. I retorted, "I think so too," meaning that if I were a man, we would have gotten into a fight. He's used to intimidation, threats, and coercion. I don't know the name of the police officer who gave Tun water to drink. Police Lieutenant Colonel Les said that the officer who gave Tun water is a favorite among the police lieutenants and a close associate of Fra Singh. When I was crying and shouting loudly because I was under pressure, he just smiled and said, "Don't be so dramatic. I know everything." When I was standing near him, I pretended to unzip his shirt to see his name. He stood still for me to unzip it, but inside it was a white polo shirt with no name. As for the other police officer who told Tun to go home twice, I see him regularly at the dorm. He likes to come and offer food to the monks. He's a charitable person. Every time he comes, I see him going into the donation room to make merit. Because before, when the previous police superintendent was there, the admin called him Deputy Superintendent Noy. I used to see the two of them offering food together. And he really likes to circumambulate the pagoda. There was one time when Papid said, "I don't like these phrases at all. The phrase Luang Fa is in my heart, the phrase someone." This policeman just looked at him with a blank expression. Nong Tun added that the policeman who gave him water to drink, he asked him. And he said he used to follow the Kiang Tawan page. Pete added that the policeman who told Nong Tun he could go home was the one who often comes with wrong Noi to make merit. The person who gave Nong Tun water was a close associate of Fra Singh, and Fra Singh probably instructed him to give Nong Tun water because he is a close police officer. Additional information from the admin. The giving of water is a suspicious point, suggesting they might have drugged Nong Tun to relieve his anxiety. Like they do to everyone who suspects Luang Fa 01 in the temple. And Fra Singh is a subordinate of Fa 2, so he probably claimed he had to follow orders from senior monks. Like he often says to the hosts when he wants to control them. And those who follow Teacher Jude's page have read about the poisoning issue because they are concerned about cyanide poisoning. Similar to what some people said about Teacher Jude dying from drinking water containing this substance. Le is likely the head of the female security guards because he has been there for a very long time. Tun said that the police officer at the glass room, Gate 8, wearing dark pants and a hat, tried to get Tun outside. He tried to wrestle with the security guard, referring to someone who looked like a lieutenant, around 60 years old, to have a car pull up and take Tun away. He arrived shortly after the security guard. By the time Tun got downstairs, he was gone. It seems like he sent a signal to someone else, as if he wanted to control Tun and get him out of the temple. Pete added that this person was very ruthless and kept shouting, forbidding the others from taking pictures. Pete added that this is the police officer who, after he and Tick came out of the glass room, shouted at them to hurry downstairs. If they didn't, he would make them get in a car and go downstairs. Where were they going? Tun said that a security guard named Tutu pulled Tun onto his subordinate's motorcycle and took him downstairs. Other eyewitnesses, Kun Fa said that Tun was sitting on the floor in the 3rd row. Am and Sang were sitting in the 4th row, and her older sibling was sitting in the 5th row in the same area. After the monk finished receiving the donation for Tun, Am went to ask the MC for the microphone. Tun followed and stood slightly to the front to wait for the microphone. Officials rushed out towards Tun and Am, pulling Tun to leave the glass room. Tun shouted questions to Luangpur Tata about Luangpur Dhamma and why Luangpur Tata didn't close the case for Luangpur Dhamma. Am was escorted out of the glass room by people, but she walked back to her seat with officials following and sitting beside her. Sang followed later. When she saw officials pulling Tun away and Am being escorted, Sang turned back to her seat. After a while, a security guard replaced the officials who were escorting Am. A female official asked Sang if she came with Am. She probably saw Sang walk away and then turn back to sit in her seat. After Tun was pulled out of the glass room by officials, they waited until Luangpur Tata finished his sermon. Sang rushed to find Luangpur Tata but was stopped and pulled outside. They then separated and left the room. Next is the story of Sang. This section is about Sang. 1. We started after the monk was almost finished receiving the sacred offering. We signaled to Pete Yathida to get the microphone. She got up, followed by Tun and Sang. Tun went to find O2 to wait for his chance to get the microphone. While Tun was walking, Sang had already left. 2 officers blocked us. We said we wanted to speak with O2. And then more officers started blocking us from leaving. At that moment, we heard Tun shouting, "Why didn't Father O2 close the case for O1? Then several guards took Tun outside. As for Pete Am, a female lay follower was escorted out of the room. Sang said that PM could sit in the room, so they let her. Later, a female security guard sat next to PM, who was sitting with Sang, too. Now, we're waiting for O2 to finish his sermon so we can go and ask O2 for permission to speak with him. At this point, PM started coughing. So the officers asked her to go outside to take some medicine because PM's bag was with the officers. After PM left, I didn't go back in, I met PM again after the ceremony was over. And Sang came downstairs with the officers. 3. After O2 finished the sermon, Sang knew there were officers waiting to escort her. As soon as O2 stood up, Sang quickly got up and ran. 2 to 3 officers ran after her and pulled her out. Sang shouted, "Father, may I have your permission? Father, I would like to talk to you. I want to ask about Father O1. A large officer covered Sang's mouth with his hand and pushed her out of the room to the lower level of the parliament. They were guarding Sang very tightly. 3 to 4 people with a large man who was probably the head of the guards. Sang said, "Let me go. I can walk myself." They said, "We'll invite you to talk downstairs." During the struggle to get him to let go, I turned around and saw Sunan being escorted by officers as well. The large man said, "I know you came as a group. What are you doing? I know everything. I saw the script you wrote. Do you think I don't know?" At this point, I think he had probably already interrogated me. Sang said, "We didn't come as a group. We just wanted to know about Father O1. The large man said, "Don't lie to me. You're doing this as a group." We said we just have the same opinion, to ask about Luangpur O1. They said, "We'll go talk downstairs." 4. Sang came down and met with Pam, Tik, and Papit who were talking to the officials. At this point, officials were taking photos and videos constantly. A male official came and asked for Sang's name and phone number. Sang refused, saying she didn't want it for anything. He said it was for information, but Sang still refused. Then there was a police officer sitting there. The police officer said that what we were doing was inappropriate for the ceremony, it would scare people, and Luangpur had important guests. From this point on, it will be Sang talking to the police. You should be spending your time cracking down on online gambling, scammer gangs, and drug trafficking. Police, we are already doing that. Do you know that cars are stolen from the temple every month? Each person is doing their duty to take care of things. But what you're doing is inappropriate and disrespectful. That's why we're waiting for the ceremony to be over before we go see Luangpur. Police, but it's inappropriate and disrespectful. There are procedures for doing this. And what are the procedures? Police, submit the request to the coordinator, and they will send the matter through the process. There are people who did this too. But we haven't been able to meet or talk to him. We just want to know if O1 is at the temple now, and how he is. We asked people at the temple. We asked the coordinator, and they said he is. If he is, then why hasn't he come out? And what's the status of O1's case? We just want to know because the temple hasn't given us any updates. Police, regarding the case, they have a legal team handling it, and it takes time according to procedure. It's been a very long time, 8 years now, since O1 hasn't come out. And there's nothing clear, that's why we have to ask O2. Police, if you love O1, you follow O1's teachings. You circumambulate the temple, you encourage people to ordain. We already practice the teachings. But this is a personal matter, we want to know if O1 is here, and how he is. If he were really your father, wouldn't you care? Wouldn't you ask about him? Do you all love O1 or do you love yourselves? At this point, a female security guard asked for our ID cards. We said no, we haven't done anything wrong. So she backed away. We never thought this would happen. We've been coming to the temple for a long time. We're just small devotees, we have no power, and we don't intend to harm the temple. But then this happened. Many devotees didn't come to the temple because they also wanted to know about case O1, but they didn't get the truth, and the temple didn't make any statement. After we finished speaking, we walked out. Regarding the documents and the handover contract, I didn't see them. I assume they've already taken them. Someone said the handover documents were with Palm's bag. The officials took them together. After that, we all dispersed. This is the person who said, "I know you're doing this as a conspiracy," speaking very aggressively. Who is he? Minashi added, "This person threatened Tun." P replied, "His name is Tudtu. He's an old acquaintance. We've known each other for a long time. He said he'd known you for ages. At first, he was aggressive and tried to approach me. I cried loudly, shouted, and acted like I was being pressured. So he backed off. The police officer who was interrogating Tun laughed and said, "Don't put on a drama. I know everything." So I pretended to film a video. The older police officer who initially escorted me was very harsh. He forced me to walk down quickly, otherwise he would call a car. I said I wouldn't go, I would walk myself. He acted like I was a criminal. This person saw me filming and said I couldn't film. I told them that they could film with multiple cameras. So the security guards didn't care. Whoever filmed us. We filmed. The new security guards came and joked, telling me to calm down. They looked at us like we were harmless. But the higher-ups knew that I and Tick were the ones they had targeted. According to the orders of Fra and Fra Sanfin, during the conversation, they told us to drink water first. They offered us a bottle of water. I replied that I wouldn't drink it and winked at everyone, telling them not to drink it. As for the glasses, the police asked for them as evidence. We showed our innocence by saying, "You can take them," because I thought that if they looked at them, it would be considered a broadcast in the glass room. But the admin of the Tawan Dhamma News Station checked and there was no memory card in the glasses to store the recording. This meant there was no recording of anything at all. Giving them to the police would be a waste of resources.